We're going to be going over commissions today. So commissions today in Command 101. It's the last week of the command series. So next week we'll be restarting it again. I think next week is the first of the month. Not quite sure when that is. So this one here is going to be like kind of wrapping it all up and putting it all together for you. So glad to have you here with me. Robert Vincent here with Market Center 463 and the Market Center Technical Trainer on January 25th. You ready to go? I think you are. All right. So for those of you who are joining me live on Zoom, feel free to pop in and ask any questions anytime along the way. If you're in Facebook watching me live there, you can chat in that window. If you're on Zoom, I've got that window going as well. So we got all the chats going, and glad to have you here. So let's go ahead and start by, I'll share my screen here for those people that are on Zoom. So we'll get that going. The ones that are on Facebook are already seeing it live there. Okay, so when we talk about offers and commissions, it is the last stage of an opportunity. But it's interesting how the way that opportunities are structured, and I actually was speaking with someone just recently about how not every agent follows what command thinks is the best way to complete an opportunity. Often an opportunity happens in spurts and spats, and it just kind of happens the way it happens. So something really important to understand is that although command has a very linear structure to an opportunity, you don't have to necessarily follow it. And in the way that we work today, things jump from his to that, and they go back and cover other things that they missed. So keeping that in mind, the stuff that I show you here, take it with a grain of salt in terms of the order of operations. And remember that at the end of the day, we're just trying to get it all done here. And we can do that. Just might have to move the timeline around a little bit. So what do we mean? So as we know, when we're working with an opportunity, we are working with a contact. So to get to any of the opportunities that we're working with, and I want to distinguish something here as I talk about this one little kind of entry point into dealing with this offers and commissions, is that there are really two ways in command that you're managing opportunities. If you are an admin, a transaction coordinator, a rainmaker, somebody who is doing work on multiple transactions at once, then oftentimes you're going to live in the opportunities dashboard, and you're going to jump from here into the opportunities that you're working with that particular moment. And in the case of the team, whether they be team opportunities, if you're an individual, there are individual opportunities. On those teams, you can work with one or more of the agents at any given time. But remember, that's kind of like the 50,000-foot view where you're launching from this into a variety of activities on a daily basis for multiple opportunities. But as an agent, many times when you come into command, you're really very purposeful. You're going to an opportunity for somebody. And so you don't necessarily need this dashboard because it can kind of get in your way. So what I always tell people is this: look, if you're managing your business on a day-to-day basis and you want to see the picture of the business, go to the dashboard, manage it from there. But if you're managing a single opportunity on a Tuesday morning at 1 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning, and you just need to manage that one opportunity, go to the contact. So find the contact. And in my case here, I'm going to go to my default contact that I have. And of course, if I hadn't put the apostrophe there, I probably would have found the person. And that is this Jackie Astuto, this demo contact that I have. So I went into contacts, I searched for the contact, and over here on the right-hand side on the activities timeline, I have the opportunities that I have been working with for this contact. Now you see how quickly I got here, because if I had gone the other way, I would have to gone in, searched for it, and look around. But and if I've got multiple people named John Smith, it can be a pain in the butt. So here is a fast way to get to managing that opportunity. All right.
I'll call you back.
So with that being said, I think that you'll find it quick and easy to get to specifically what you're looking for. Now that we have that, let's jump into that opportunity. So I'll go ahead and click on the opportunity from the contact, and it takes me to the details page of our current opportunity. Now, because we are talking about offers and commissions today, we have to make some assumptions in order for us to be even eligible to get to that screen in Command. And by eligible, I don't mean technically eligible, because I can click on the button here. I can just click on that and jump into it. I can do that. But what I mean is, in the lifespan of an opportunity that goes from the very beginning stages, which is, this might turn into a deal or it might not. These people are still kind of wishy-washy and thinking about it, but I'm going to monitor them and I'm going to turn them into a client, all the way through submitting what we're about to do today for a commission check. And that lifeline, that lifespan happens within the opportunity according to the phase and the stage that opportunity is in. Now, if you are managing your business and you're using the cultivate through the close phases and all of the different stages that are available, including the potential checklists and all of that, if you're doing that, then this is going to be valuable for you, so that you're going to know what your potential income, your probable income is, and all that good stuff. And that's going to be based on the transaction itself, the commission rate, and the total commission dollars. So it's a kind of cool tool to use. But now let's get real. A lot of agents don't put this base information in, frankly, because there's a time crunch and you just need to get things done. Now, I totally understand that, but I will put it to you this way. Now, I'm a stickler for making sure that the information is there so that the reporting, the end game, the information that I glean afterwards has value. And so I come from a project management background where, we would be dealing with, billion-dollar projects. And one of the most important parts of a project is always the forensic stage of the project afterwards. Now, in the industry that I was in, which was space construction and construction, that industry is hypersensitive to looking back at projects to make sure that the next project doesn't suffer from the same pitfalls for the previous project. Real estate agents aren't necessarily focused on that kind of hyper attention, because you're just moving on to the next thing, and you do the best you can, and you fail forward, as Tim likes to say. In that sense, a lot of this information that we're putting in here is not necessarily going to be captured because you're moving forward too quickly. But if you're interested in going back and seeing where your strengths and your weaknesses are, then you're going to want to have all this information in advance. Tying that into the commissions tab. If that's all in there in advance, and what I'm talking about is all of the details about this opportunity. If all of that's in there in advance, the offers and commissions tab takes 2 seconds. But if you're not doing it in advance, it takes a little bit longer. So it's up to you on how you manage your projects. Now, I do have a class called Managing Your Opportunities. And what that class talks about is how to think from a business perspective of managing all of your opportunities so that the reporting and the numbers and everything are valid for you. So if you're interested in that, I can direct you to where to find that video and that little class to watch. But for now, we're going to make the assumption that we're moving quickly and we just need to get this done. So the question that comes across my desk all the time is, when do I do an offer and submit the commissions? Where is this in the lifeline of the lifespan of the project, or in this case, the opportunity? And that question is really difficult to answer, because what you can do in the offers and commissions tab versus when you decide to do it is really two different things, because you can start this right now. I can click on offers and commissions and I can create an offer and fill out the commissions tab weeks before I've actually gone to the closing table. And then I can just come in here and modify it before I submit it. So when is irrelevant, because I can do it. But how many times do I want to do it? How many times do I want to update it? And what kind of information am I going to have to change if I go back in there? That's all something to think about. Now, let's talk about the real world of when you need to do it. You need to do it to get paid. So you're not getting paid without submitting in command the documentation and having it approved, and then submitting your offers and commissions tab. The offer portion of the offers and commissions tab, we're just going to put it right out there in the real world. It's kind of irrelevant. It's a neat bonus, but very few people are using it, because usually by the time you're ready to click that button, you're not really dealing with offers, you're dealing with the commissions. And that's what you're headed there for. But the offers tab allows you to create or generate a nice looking offer. And when do you do that? Well, often that's going to be at the under contract phase right before that, because you've listed the property. In this case, this is a listing. So you've listed the property, you've got a buyer, so you have an offer. So are you going to stop in the middle of that, come over here, click on the offers and commissions tab and generate that offer using commands tools? Or are you just going to call up your client and say, hey, we got an offer, $450. Do you want it? And they say yes. And to that point, you're basically done. You're just moving through the documentation process. You're filling out the P&S or whatever the under contract information. You're filling out all that stuff. And that's all post offer, right? So what is the value, whether or not you use it, and whether you bypass it and go straight to the commissions? That is kind of the big question. So I am going to show you how to generate an offer, and then I'm going to show you how to submit for commissions, because you need to do both to get paid. And if you like the offer tool, when the phone call comes in, when you get a buyer who's interested in the property and the phone call comes in, you could actually jump in here and generate a nice little offer before you do anything further and send it off to your client. So that's where we're going to enter the pipeline. So we're going to enter this as the offer came in over the phone and we want to generate something nice for our client. Then we're going to send it to our client. They're going to accept the offer, and then we're going to put the property under contract, which means we're going to need to continue our paperwork, fill out everything. And then when the property is ready to close and we want to get paid, we'll go back to the offers and commissions, go right past the offer point, and get to our commissions to get it paid for. Hopefully that made sense in terms of when, because it's a back and forth. Whether or not you use the tool is up to you, and you will be able to decide that after I show you where we're at. Okay, so let's reset now and talk about the actual process. You're not going to go to the offers and commissions tab until you've at least got the listing paperwork done, because you don't have an offer yet. So if the thing's not in the MLS, well, you're going to need to get that done. You're going to need to put this thing on the market. You're going to need to do an open house or whatever the shortest possible lifespan of a transaction is. You're going to need to get that done. All of this paperwork is going to be signed. All of this paperwork doesn't necessarily have to be approved when you receive an offer, because that's not how time works. You might be in the middle of some of these and an offer might come through. So just keep that in mind as when you click on the offers and commissions tab. It's going to be either right before under contract, because that's the point of an offer, or it's going to be long after that and you're just bypassing the offers tab to get to commissions. So we'll assume for a moment that we are doing by the book and we have something listed. We get the open houses on Saturday, and we got 2 people that want to make offers. We'll both, and why not? We'll do both of them. So we come into command and we go offers and commissions. Boom. Offers and commissions. Offer timeline. There are no offers for this deal yet. So let's create one. So it's Saturday afternoon. We're going to click add new offer. New offers by default give a value of a name of initial offer. Now, in the case of like my example where we're at an open house and we have a couple of people that are making offers in this thing, you might want to put in here Bill buyer in offer 1. So you know when it came in terms of winning the offers and the timelines and stuff like that. So a bill buyer is giving you offer number one, and maybe it was 12 o'clock on Saturday. On, let's say, 1:20, this can be 20, I don't know, 28, 29, whatever, 28, 22. So now you know when this offer came in. Cool. Create offer. The offer process is broken down into 4 tabs: the offer details, the parties involved, the terms of that offer, and then an analysis by you, the agent of that offer. And at that point, the submission of that offer to your client for review and accepting or rejecting. So on the offer details tab, which is the step 1, it loads in the name that we just gave it and the offer date. Now, I just mentioned that the offer date was on 1/28, so we'll play with that as if it's the real date. I'll go ahead and put it on here on the 28th. Okay, and if that's the case, the closed date for that offer could be the same as well. All right, and we'll click on parties. Oh, sorry, closing date for that offer needs to be in the future, so we'll say the 29th. Just keep my life easy. So whatever the closing date is. So now we go to parties. So we're in the second stage of an offer. Now you'll notice that there's required fields here. So we do need a name. And I think we actually have, I'm not sure if I have Bill Buyer in here or not, but we're going to go ahead and put Bill Buyer. Now you'll notice that it's not searching my database, because very often the buyer is not necessarily in your database on a listing. If it's a buying opportunity and they're, buying the house, then they're technically already in your database. But we do need a name. We do not need email, phone, fax, address. But if you're going to use the offer tool that we're using right now to develop a nice looking offer, I'm not talking about just entering the data to get past it. I'm talking about building an offer. Then it would be nice to put this information in. So let's just go ahead and here and put something, and we'll put at gmail.com. And the phone number is okay, so we have a nice phone number, and the address down here, we'll search for a location. So the address will be 123, and this, you'll notice, is using Google's Maps search. So I'll just grab something there, and then we can decide whether or not to checkbox pre-approved or pre-qualified. So pre-qualified and pre-approved are not the same thing, and as a non-agent, I'm not going to go into the technical differences because I don't want to step on the definitions of these things. But I think that you guys probably are very familiar with the difference between a pre-approved buyer and a pre-qualified buyer. Now, you have the option of specifying for the person who's buying, for the person that you're going to submit this offer to, who is your seller, you can put this information on the offer so that they know that this particular person is pre-qualified or pre-approved. Now, if they have representation, you're going to put that representation name in here, and it is a required field. So now that representation can be in our sphere, or it can be someplace else. So when we search here, if I search for Nancy, you'll see that it does not pull from our local database. So like if we were just going to put someone in here, we just put in the name of that person, and that is not pulling from our KW database. Okay, so now that we have that, we can put in the email here as well, and we will put this here. And we also have the option to put in a phone number, okay? So do you need all that? No. Do you need the name? Yes. Do you need the name of the buyer? Yes. The seller information has already been populated because this is coming from this actual contract. So with that information in there, we can see that the only thing we're missing here is an address, which in some cases may be the address of the property being sold. And in some cases, you might want to put the address of where they're going. So if they're moving out of town, we can put in a search here and say they're going to Lawrence, Mass. So we can just search for an address here, whether it be the one that they're selling or the one that they are moving to. It's up to you. Representation, the associate's name is filling up with your name. That's when it automatically populate with your email, and you can put in your phone number here. Now, the reason I'm doing all of this, 645-339-645-9510. There we go. The reason I'm doing all this is because I'm going to show you how cool these offers look. How many of you are using it? maybe 1%, but they're cool. They look nice. We'll go to terms now. So we went through details and parties, and we're on terms now. Terms: cash, finance amount, and sales price. The finance amount is calculated, sorry, not the finance amount. The sales price is calculated based on the values in cash and finance. You do not need to do the math here. It'll do it. So if we say cash is 20K, all right, you can see that it's already saying, well, that means it's 20 sales price because you haven't got the finance amount. Let's say we're going to do 160 here. No, 180. 180 here to get us to a nice flat 200. So these numbers here will calculate the sales price, which I don't think you can change. No, I'm trying to change the value. You cannot change that value. Earnest amount. This is your escrow amounts here. So percentage or amounts. So if they're putting 10%, you can put that here and it will calculate it at 20K. Or you can come on the other side and put a number in here and it will calculate back to a percentage. Right? In either case, those numbers, they're reciprocal, and these are not going to impact the total sales price of the house because these numbers are outside of that. All right. There is an option fee. If you want more information on what the option fee is and whether or not you use it, I defer to the brokers, Jen Vachon and Jason Westcott. But there is an option here to add an option fee. So I'm going to just leave it at that because there's a lot of discussion on when or what to use that for. Since not a lot of people are using the offers tool, I don't usually try to go into it too much because I don't want to give it a bad explanation. There is a termination option. So you're starting to think to yourself, well, Robert, why are these things here if we don't use them or they're not required fields? What you need to remember when you're looking at this page is that these fields and this dialog box is for Keller Williams. This is not for Keller Williams Coastal and Lakes and Mountains Realty. This is for KW as a whole. So everybody in the country is looking at this exact same sheet that you are. So when we say certain things here, they may not apply to you because of our region, the way we do things. There might be some things that are different. There might be a different name for some of the things that are in here than what you're used to. So keep that in mind. And again, I encourage you to speak with your broker about whether or not you need these things, whether or not these things are going to have value for us. But extremely important, at the end of the day, none of this data here, with the exception of one box, this one, none of the data down here impacts your commission check because the sales price is what we enter for the commissions. So what we're entering is information about the offer. We're not applying for commissions right now. So the information here can be zeros, even if there are values there, or they can be values. The only real reason to use this is if you're going to put this information in front of your client so they can make a valuable judgment, a good judgment on what they're getting. So with that being said, the buyer will give notice of termination in, and I'll put 5 days here just to again, have a number. Seller costs. Seller will contribute to the residential service contract. Again, check with the brokers on what that means to you, if anything. And we'll put $5,000 here just so that you can see what it looks like on the form itself. Seller will contribute X dollars to settlement costs. Let's say $2,000 here. So this is all stuff that you're going to use to put in front of the client, and then they can make their decision. And I keep on saying it because it's so true. Most of you guys are not using this. You're just using the page to get past it so that you can get to the commissions because you've already dealt with the offer. So now the last section in the offer is agent analysis. In the agent analysis, you have basically the pros and the cons. Nice guy. And cons is slow to respond. I'm just making stuff up so that you can see RESPOND, so that you can see what it looks like when we actually generate the offer. All right, summary here. I love it. I think you should sell to this guy. Yeah, let's try that again. I love the offer. I think you should sell it to this guy. I don't think you can actually say that, but you get the idea. All right, so now that we've done that, and we click save, now we have an offer in the system. Now, I mentioned that we're going to do it with 2 offers so that you can see what it looks like when we have 2 offers side by side. So my second offer, I'm going to do this a lot quicker. I'm going to click Add New Offer. We're going to call it Sally Buyer, and we're going to create that offer. So here we have here the offer date. We'll say the same thing. It came in on the 25th, and it's going to close on the 28th. Good enough. Parties. We're going to go Sally Buyer. And I'm going to use some of the same stuff here just so that you can see it. Address, we'll do, that's too much. 456. Okay. It doesn't want to search for that. Fine. We'll do 1, 2, 3. Okay. Doesn't want to search. Fair enough. They are pre-qualified. The associate name in here is going to be John Smith. We got all the other rest of the stuff here. We'll go on to terms. Terms are, we're going to change things up here. We're going to go to cash of 25. And this person is making an offer that's going to be a little higher. So there we go. Earnest amount, we'll leave that off. Option fee, we'll leave it off. They want this to be 3 days. And they're going to contribute $3,000 to this one and $1,000 to this one. Agent analysis, pros and cons, pro, con, and summary. Woo-hoo. So now we have 2 offers. All right. So this is what it looks like when we have these 2 offers in the system. We can actually go in here and look at these numbers to get the offer amounts. And you'll see that it puts the offer amounts in with the highest offer on top here. But you can check all of these and then do a compare offers, or you can go back in and do edits, or just arbitrarily accept them or reject them right from here. Additionally, you can go into each offer, add a negotiation where you say, let's say we want to do cash of 30,000. So you can add a negotiation to that, edit the existing offer, add additional analysis, send the offer, or remove the offer. Now, let's talk about the send the offer for a moment, because what this implies is you're going to send a single offer, because we click the 3 dots on just the one offer. So this one, when we send offer, is going to be just that one offer. Okay, we can actually preview it by when we click the send offer, and you can see here, Sally Seller as the offer, as opposed to a comparison offer where we're sending both. So this is just one offer that we're sending to the client. So let's pause here for a moment and look what we're doing when we send an offer to the client. KW, nice banner across the top with your information coming from your marketing profile. Hi, Jackie Astuto. Great news. There's a new offer on your listing. Sally Buyer wants to get it at $215 for the total offer price. She is offering $25 in cash. Earnest is $0. Closing date is $128. Finance at $190. No option fees. 3 days termination. Pro. Woohoo. There we go. This is really nice. I think they're pretty cool, frankly. I think they look good. They look professional. They're very sharp. But that's a single offer for that one single person. Now, if we want to do a select all, then we do compare offers. What we end up with is a side-by-side here that we are looking at that is kind of a little report, side-by-side with the higher number on the left here, closest to the columns, with all the comparative values there, all right? Now, we can then download this, or we can send it to our client via email. And I'm going to send it. I'm going to go ahead and send this out to JMA client, which is a real email that I have here. And it says, you have 2 offers, email message, and there's send a copy to my email as an option. Let's look at what that looks like. Okay. So now this is 2 offers. So where we were able to send one out at a time before, when we use the compare, we're able to send out 2 offers. So here's that comparison. And it says Bill Buyer at 200 with all his details. And then it says Sally Buyer down here at the second one. One of the things that I was a little frustrated with this particular version is that it doesn't include that nice side-by-side comparison tool. it doesn't show you the columns where you're looking at them side by side. You have to do a vertical comparison on this. So I was kind of disappointed that I see that because I liked it. I like that compare offers grid view of right here. But what you can do is you can take this and you can copy it and put it into an email or screenshot it and put it into an email if you want to do that kind of a comparison. Okay. Now I wonder if I click download here, I don't think, oh, look at that. It does. You don't even have to do a screenshot. So you can actually hit the download button and it gives you that nice grid view that you can email. Okay. So that's kind of cool. I don't think I've ever hit that button. You learn something new every day. So when you are finally ready after doing negotiations or edits to finally accept one of these offers, then all you have to do is quite literally click the accept button and accept the offer. So now before I click this though, let's be clear. Clicking that accept button goes hand in hand with what's on the document page because you're probably already, if not have done, you are preparing the purchase and sales agreement because you're accepting an offer in the software, which means that you probably have got signatures on this thing or you're headed towards that direction. So you're coming backwards to get that process going. How's that for reality? Probably not very real because you're probably past this. But you can do this. You can say, I'm going to accept the offer. And when it does, notice that the second offer is basically grayed out. You do not have an accept. You don't have anything. You can click the three buttons on the right-hand side for the not accepted offer, and you can enter additional information, including removing the offer. You still have some of the tools, but you can't accept it because you've already accepted the other one. The only way to change an offer exception is to click the change response button, and it will remove the closing date and it will remove those dates out of there because you're undoing what you've done. So you can change your response, but you're kind of going backwards. You're not just changing your response. Okay. So now, again, back on the real timeline, at this point, now you're coming back over here and you're going to finish all this out because you're not submitting for the commission yet because, as you know, you need to get all this done. So we kind of jumped over to the offers tab, did what we needed to generate an offer, came back here, worked the offer, filled it all out, got the under contract stuff, got everything going, got the checks, got the disclosures, got everything we needed. Okay. And then we're coming up on the closing date. And then we go into the closed area. All right. So closed. Do we have the settlement statement? Do we have the new deed? Do we have all this? Some of this stuff is fairly post closing date, which means we can submit for our commissions before some of this stuff comes through because sometimes that new stuff hasn't come through yet. So you can go to the commissions area even though you're still working on these folders because that's just the way the world works. So when we go into the commissions area and we want to submit for our commissions on this, we just need to remember that compliance and the market center administrators, the people who pay you, they are talking to each other, and the MCA is going to look at this to make sure that the documents area is in good shape and everything's been approved before they pay it. If there's anything that's rejected or outstanding, you're probably going to get a notification after you submit your commissions and saying, well, you know, we got to wait on this because that critical piece of information is not done. Or they might say, we're going to do this contingent on this information, whatever it might be. Those rules and regulations and guidelines and the procedures are completely off my plate, but just be aware that you might be dealing with compliance and the MCA as you go through this process, and you'll start to understand pretty quickly about what is the acceptable level of completeness before you hit the commissions to submit. So we'll assume that we're in the right place. We've got all our documents approved and everything's good to go. So we go to the commissions tab again, and we're going to manage the commission submission. So I'm going to click on Manage Commission. Now, this is where everybody wants to be. And this is, we did all that stuff with the offer, but really this is what we're here for, because this is the meat of getting paid. There's a red marker right in the middle of this thing that says contract date. You're not going anywhere until that's put in there. So you're not going to be able to finish this out until it's done. So when it says contract date with a big red triangle there, we need to edit the general information, to edit that, and to also, if necessary, if you haven't put it in already, enter the closing date. So what we have is a $215 is the sales price on the offer that we accepted, 3% commission, giving us a total commission of $64.50 on a unit of 1. You can read this as 100% of the deal, which means that 100% of the deal is worth $6,450 based on 3% commission. Now, who that's going to be going to is down below, and we'll get there in a moment. But right now, it's going to default to you as the agent, one person receiving it, 100% of the deal. It doesn't, even if you're part of a team, it does not populate team Rainmakers or any other distributions. You have to do that manually. So when we look at the total commission of $64.50, we can see that the pay to office $16.77, the royalties, the company commissions, down to your number $4,773. Technically, if you were, well, I'll qualify this by saying that we're going to adjust the contract date in a moment. Technically, if it's only you on the deal and it's 100%, just hit submit. You're done. The only contingencies there would be, do you have any deductions for contributions to charities or anything like that? We can fill those out in here as well. But if you're not doing any of that, you're done. You're here. So hit and submit. You're it. But let's fix this, and then let's talk about different agents and different brokers and different referrals and all that kind of stuff. So we will edit the general information, and all I need to do in here is put in a contract date. So the contract date, we know that the closing date was the 28th, so it kind of needs to be before that. I'll put it at the 26th. This is a really fast closing. I'm guessing there's probably some bad paperwork in this one. All right. So I'll put that in there and I'll hit save changes. So there's the contract date, and we're all opened up here and it's ready to go. Now this is where things get a little bit sticky, is going down and starting to talk about who's going to receive the money. So right now, again, I said that there was 100% of this is going to the single agent on the deal. But there is options to add additional agents, to add co-broke payments, and to add internal referrals and external referrals. So you have 4 different things that you can add here, and you can add multiples of them. So this isn't just a specific number of 4. So you have to kind of map this out as to, where's the splits, where's the money going. Again, lovingly, if it's all one person, one thing, it's great, you're done. But let's talk about when we use these things and what we can do in here. Here is the breakdown for just the one agent, you, and it is saying that you are receiving 100% of the deal, 1 unit. There's the commission, the net paid to the agent, which is based on that list we saw up top, and the payment date. Then the payment breakdown goes a little bit more into detail of what we saw up here. So we see these numbers up here broken down more finely down below here. And the reason they're broken down more finely is because we see rates and splits, company commissions and splits, additional deductions, E&O, bold, nonprofits, KW Cares, KW Kids Can, and then finally net to agent. And on the right, we can also see some data. Right now, the cap at $3,000, actual paid in, and your balance. Mine never changes because I'm not an agent, so I don't have these numbers. But keep an eye on your numbers, and you will be able to see, when you're capping, where you're at with the balance and the actuals. Also, something to note about this. This is not perfect. I have seen some times where these numbers do not necessarily reflect what the agent thinks they're going to reflect on the date that they look at them. Something really important to remember about these values that are showing large picture of what's going on with you as an agent is these numbers are not updated every day. These numbers have to go through the market center to Texas on the transmittal dates. Then they have to come back and we have to enter things. So these may not be like up to the minute accurate. And don't worry if they're not, because at the end of the day, we have the actual accurate numbers. You're never going to have this something where it's like crazy wrong, but it might not reflect what you expect to see there. Just don't panic. Know that those numbers will either update, the next month or update when the transmittals are done or whatever the process is, or you can always call in and check those numbers. Okay. Now, with this defaults, we see a lot of zeros here. Well, where do we edit those numbers if we need to make changes to them? And that's that edit agent payment button to the right of the name of the agent. So right here. Now remember, as I go in here, I'm only editing this agent, Robert Vincent. So by default, when there's only, in this case, one agent, there's going to be one unit. This unit will break down further depending on how many splits there are. It has nothing to do with referrals, and it has nothing to do with co-broks. So if you've got a referral, you're not adjusting this. If you've got a co-broke, you're not adjusting the agent units. But if you're splitting the deal with an agent inside KW, then you're splitting this down to the numbers. Whether it be one person or more, if you're on a team, depending on how that works, the agent units will need to be adjusted according to the percentages that each person that we add is going to get. And here's something super duper important. Let's say for right now, we're dealing with Robert Vincent, myself, it's just me. And of course, it's going to be 1.0 with the total amount of commission. And you can always recalculate that commission in this box to just make sure it's showing. If I finish this box out, I'll leave it as is for right now. I'll say, yeah, that's it. Okay. But now I'm going to add another split with the second agent. So I'll come in here and I'll click the Add Other Agent button, and I'm going to do a search. All right. So I'm going to search and I'm going to put another agent in here who's going to get a split on this deal. Now, when I do that, the agent units is set to 0. So what is Wednesday's split going to be? Well, maybe we've decided that it's going to be half the deal. So 0.5. So remember, 1.0 equals 100%. So when you come in here, you're breaking down 1 into the split. So when I click on the 0.5 and put it in here, the agent gross commission is not automatically calculating, just like when we saw mine was not. You can calculate that and it will tell you this. But look in the background. Do you notice how behind this dialog box, Robert Vincent says agent units 1.0 and the gross commission is 64.50. Know this, that by doing this 0.5% here, or half of the value of the whole thing, it is not going to recalculate your portion. You will need to go back in and edit your portion to reflect the half, because you cannot have more than 1.0 units. So always keep that in mind, that if you do something here, when you're adding another agent, you will need to adjust your information. So let's say we're just going to leave that like that. Now hit Save Changes. So here's the proof. Look what ended up happening. Robert is getting a commission check of $47.73, and Wednesday's getting $23.86. But that's wrong, because that exceeds 1.0. So if we go down a little bit further, you'll see here's Robert at 1.0, and we'll go down to this a little bit lower, and here's Wednesday at 0.5. We need to fix this. So no matter what you do, if you're doing an agent split, you have to go back to yourself afterwards, hit Edit Page Agent Payment, and fix your part of the split, recalculate the commission, and then you can hit Save Changes. And now we get the split the way we expect it to be. Okay. That is a really important part of this conversation. And anytime that you're doing an agent to agent split inside of KW, you need to do that. Okay. So I'm going to come down a little bit further and I'm going to remove the second payment to Wednesday. Sorry, Wednesday, I'm taking the money back. So I'm going to remove this agent and it says, are you sure you want to do that? Yes, I'm going to remove them. I'll go back to the top and as we expected, it did not return my units to 1.0. So I still have to edit that. I'll come back here. I'll do 1.0 and recalculate, save changes. So now let's look. Now we know how to split, right? So we know how to split between another agent and ourselves. And in that case, our agent was inside KW. Remember, when we click that agent payment, or I'm sorry, when we click that add agent, we were able to search for a known agent inside of KW. So we actually searched for somebody here. So when you're adding an agent, you're looking for a KW agent. You can add an external agent, somebody who's a co-broke. It's extremely important to remember that when you click the add another agent, KW is going to pay them because they have them in the payroll system. Adding a co-broke payment is an external payment where we write a check externally. You're going to need additional information when you fill this out. So if you hit add co-broke, it comes up and says, well, how much? It's not based on the 1.0 total units. It's based on your commission agreements, amounts, their tax ID numbers, tax ID types, whether it be socials or EINs, and the company they work for, who it's going to be paid to, and what the agent name is. So let's fill this out. So commission, let's say the commission is going to be a total dollar amount. Let's say the dollar amount is $2,000. The commission rate is going to automatically calculate. So you can do it either way, 2%, or you can do a dollar amount and have it back calculate. Okay. The tax ID number is always going to be that multi-digit number for their tax ID. So you can put that number in here. The company, notice by the way that this is all required. The company name is other broker. Okay. The pay to is in some cases going to be the same as the name here. In some cases, other broker LLC or whatever it ends up being. And then you'll need the agent name. So that's going to be Tom Thumb. Okay. And now the address. And this is an address search dialog where you can put in a search here. And the phone number is required. And we do not need the email, but we can put the email in here. So we'll go ahead and put an email in here. So this is the information that's required. Do you have the tax ID and the information for that? Maybe not, which is why this is the kind of why we're doing this class, is so that you don't go down to this far in the line and you're like, oh, I'm going to need to get that. That's going to delay my check a week because I know these people are slow getting back to me. The information that we're putting in here, you should be gathering that when the deal is being done. So Mr. Cobroke, I'm going to pay you. So Tom Thumb there. So when I go to pay you, can I get your information so that I can enter it into my system to get you paid as quickly as possible? They're going to give you that information because they're going to want to get paid. So I'll save that now. So check it out. We added a co-broke payment and it's under other broker here. And it actually ends up falling before our information. So this whole section right here is the co-broke payment. The co-broke payment does not impact our commission check unless through your agreements with them, it does. And I'm not going to get into that. But here is their information, but check it out. Up on the summary, we now have co-broke information, 3K. We have our information, and then we have the final, the values for us here. So just remember that splits are within KW, co-brokes are co-brokes, and those really don't cross between each other, okay? All right, now I'm going to go ahead and remove this co-broke one time. So I'm going to remove that, and I'm back to just that one single number here for me. Now let's talk about referrals. So is the referral internal or external? And I'll give you a kind of a giveaway here. If the referral is external, it's just like a co-broke. because it's just a person with an EIN. So an external referral is an external check where you're going to need some kind of information about that person to process the check. So think about co-broks. You need to fill out all that stuff. You're going to do the same for an external referral. Internal referrals are different. Internal referrals can be added directly to you and taken out of your split. And the reason I phrase it that way is because an internal referral, or for that matter, an external referral tool, but I'll just focus on an internal. Let's say you split the deal with someone in your office. Let's say Wednesday and I split this in half and half. If we did the half and half, but Wednesday is paying the referral fee to someone else, she can enter the referral fee on her portion of the payment and it comes out of her side if that's what we've agreed to. So you can break it down into the two people have a 50% split. The two people can also share the referral fee between them, splitting the referral fee, or the referral fee can belong to either party on the deal. Does that make sense? Okay, because that's going to matter where you put it. So here's what it looks like. If you're going to, I'll tell you what, let me add Wednesday back into this really quick. So we're going to do Wednesday. I'm going to put Wednesday on this and it's going to be 0.5 and we'll calculate this and we'll go ahead and save changes. Okay. So now in my deal, I have to fix mine too, because I got to put the 0.5 in mine to get the right numbers. There we go. So in my deal right now, Wednesday and I are splitting this 50-50. So if I hit edit agent payment on Robert and I add a referral here, then this number is going to be modified and the referral fee will come out of me. If I come down the bottom here and I edit agent payment for Wednesday, then Wednesday is going to have the referral fee taken out of hers. Okay. But if I want both of us to split it, I don't have to do it twice. I can add another agent here as if I was adding another agent in the referral and slide all the way down to the bottom and forget all the top information and just add extra payment options. And I can click add item and say that in the add item dropdown, I want this to be an inside referral for a third person. So I'll click inside referral and I'll say that the amount for that inside referral is, say, well, we'll give them $500. Well, 5,000, sure, why not? Okay. And then the agent, because it's an inside referral, I need to know the other agent. So let's see, who just recently got licensed? Emma. Emma did. So we have Emma Capley. So maybe Emma is my referral person. So I can put this information in here and hit add. And I can also do deductions for Emma if she wants to do any of these things here. So Emma's 500 and I hit save changes. Okay. And I lied. I thought that this dialog box would allow me to split it that way. So we can't do it. We will have to do the splits on the two sides. Ooh, boy, I hate going down that road and then hitting that brick wall. All right. My bad. I thought that we could use this just for the outside or the inside referral portion. So that won't work. Okay. So because we need to keep it as a referral. So with that being said, we would have to put in and make a decision who's paying for the referral fee, or if the referral fee is split, we would have to put it in both sides of this so that we split that referral, $250 each for, in the case of my example with Emma. Sorry, Emma, we're not going to put you in here. But when we are editing the payments, remember at any cost, at any point, the extra payment options at the end of the edit payment dialog are where we're going to find referrals, bonuses, deductions, and concessions. If you have a question on what should go in here and how those numbers are built, please reach out to the MCAs because they can give you the right information about how to enter certain things in here better than I can. Because as a non-agent, I stay away from those things. I don't want you to get paid incorrectly. So when it comes to money, talk to the MCAs. When it comes to using the tool, open up the edit dialog box and choose referrals, bonuses, deductions, and concessions. And in there, you can pick one of those particular choices to fill that information out. All right. So that's a lot of stuff here. Okay. I want to finish this off by saying the offer tool is cool, but it's not used very often because many times you're already way past that and you just need to get to the commissions tab. Because of what the offers tab does, you can put the minimum requirements in there and you don't even need to worry about it really too much because, quite frankly, it's never looked at unless you're doing a print version of it and sending it to someone. So it's not really used unless you use it. The commissions tab, however, take your time on. If you have a question, and if you're unsure about the information that you've placed on the commissions tab, check it out. Underneath the summary, there's a button that says Add Note. And when you click the Add Note button here, you can put in here, hi, it's Wednesday. I'm not quite sure if I did the external referral correctly. Can you check this and verify? And if it's incorrect, what is the best practices here for me to do this? Talk to your MCA through this dialog box. And if you put something in here about something you're unsure of, that is 1,000 times better than not putting it in here and hitting submit and hoping for the best, and then having them call you and go, yeah, no, that wasn't right. You need to go back in there and make these changes. So if you're unsure of anything, put a note in here. It's a great way to communicate with them. They're going to see it as soon as they open this up. And 9 times out of 10, they can probably just go, oh, you know what? That should have gone over here. Let me move it over there for you, and I'll take care of it. Proactive. Be proactive in your reaching out to them to add notes to this thing. If this is rejected, if this is something that goes through the system and there's something wrong with it, it's going to come back to you as rejected, and it's going to tell you exactly why, just like when you're in your documentation process. When you submit this, and I'm not going to submit this here because this is, if I hit that button, it's actually going to Colin. It's going to Colin. It's going to the MCAs. It's going there. So I'm not going to click the submit button. But know this: if you did click the submit button and then you went through and let me just double check this, and you saw a mistake, there will be a kind of a last ditch button here that will allow you to cancel the submission and to terminate it. And you can do that. Now, they're still going to look at it to terminate it because they manually terminate it, but at least they'll know that you're going to go back in there and make some edits. It may take a day for that termination to come back to you. It's not instantaneous. So you'll have to wait for them to get back to you to let you know, yes, it's back open. You can re-enter your information. Don't panic. Don't get overwhelmed by this. Slow down, go through this. This is where you get paid, so you want to make sure it's right. Hit the submit button after you're satisfied, but you do have that back it out button. If you have any concerns, put your notes in here, and I think you guys are going to be good to go. And that is offers and commissions. Any questions on that? By the way, 5 seconds to go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. How's that? Pretty slick. All right. So if there are no questions, it looks like we've got everybody is good to go here. No questions on that. No questions over there. Okay. So once again, we're going to be doing the third installment today, and that is going to be where is it? Going over here. We're going to do the Command 301, and Command 301 today, we're going to be going through creating your KW agent website. If you need to reach out to me, it's Robert, or it's actually command at kwclm.com. Our YouTube channel is kwtechtube.com. You can always book time on my calendar at Time with Robert. KW Tech TV is our lab on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 2 to 3. And of course, this room. The Facebook training feed, you can either go to our group or you can go to facebook.com/MCTT463. That's my feed of all the trainings that we do, and they're all in order. And of course, our LMS is kwclmtraining.com. So that's going to take care of it. Thank you guys very much for showing up today. And are we going to see you Wednesday at 3?
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys then.